Hey guys, this is the Super Saiyan Prodigy 1221 here, and I'm going to go into analyzing my deck profile for Phantom Knights. I just got back into playing this game for the December to March format. You can probably tell by my older videos that I played a lot of hat format, and I knew of Cleaports. I didn't really play that much when Pendulums came out, and I kind of stopped playing right around Duelist Alliance when that set came out with the Burning Abyss Shaddolls into Teller Knights, and I did get back into playing a little bit last year. I uploaded some Inzektor duels, but that was just like me kind of just messing around on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro. Nothing really too good on that, to be honest with you, since that was like during Master Rule 4, and I wasn't really into the meta at that time. I was just mostly having fun. But here, I've been mainly playing on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro lately, the dawn of the new era, and it's pretty fun. It's helped me get back into the game. I know that it's not as realistic as Dueling Book, since it's gonna be manual in real life. You're not gonna have an icon there, or can't just look up Google for rulings. It's all on your own. So that's why I'm gonna start playing Dueling Book a lot more and probably upload some duel videos later on. I'm just busy right now with school, and so I won't be as fully dedicated, like probably not as big on like Yugi tubing as others, but I'll still be occasionally watching or like doing analysis on other decks. But yeah, so here we go. I like to play two gloves and two cloaks. It's a pretty good ratio. I feel like one glove isn't enough, and then if you play three and three, you're gonna end up bricking too much. At least that's what happened with my play testing, because opening up gloves and cloak is pretty dead unless you have something to like discard it off with. So that's just my take on it. And since I also run Levy Air, you can bring one of them back, so you're essentially running three and three. Most of the time, you're gonna want to get back the cloak though, so that way you can search out your three boots. And also, if any of you guys didn't know, this actually has an effect to where you can boost your Rusty Bardiche by 800 attack. Well, any dark monster in general, but most of the time you're going to want to boost your Rusty to 2900 attack, so it makes it slightly harder for your opponent to get over it in case they don't have any card removal effects. And then the heart and soul of this deck is 3 Torn Scales. It basically allowed this deck to become playable again. It's a good row contender for this format. I've been able to beat Virtual World, Drytron. I don't win like as much games as they do. I can still be able to beat them from time to time. Torn Skills just gives out great graveyard setup, and it's an instant rank 3 since you can just discard any card from your hand, dump Cloak, and search out Silent Boots. You get instant Cherubini or instant Break Sword, whatever you need, honestly. And then the fact that he can just revive himself, so that way he can be used as more fodder material for your Link plays or XYZ plays is really good too. But yeah. And here I played 3 Silent Boots, pretty self explanatory. It's your best extender for Phantom Knights. And then he also is only hard once per turn though. So because of this, I'm running Stained Greaves, because let's say if you hard draw Silent Boots, you can only special summon it once per turn because it's a hard once per turn. So there are times where you're going to need to bring out another Phantom Knights for one of your plays or combos, and Stained Greaves fits that criteria. And it can be dead sometimes if you hard draw it, but I mean, you're going to be special summoning off a lot of Phantom Knights anyway, and then so you can just special summon out since that's what its effect does. And then it also has level manipulation to go along with your Shade Brigandine in case if you need it. But yeah, and it can also manipulate the levels of other Phantom Knights, which is good. It's a small little like niche thing you could do, but I mean that's better than nothing, right? Then I play the Danger package. You don't have to play it. I've seen people prefer more of the Psychic Extender package. I feel the Danger package is good since you get discard fodder out of it, and then also draw power as well. I've been contemplating cutting the jackalope since it can be dead if you end up drawing both of them, or if you've already used the Susanoko. But I mean, it's really good if you're able to get it off. I mean, I have maybe only had it maybe be dead 5% of the time for whenever I duel. And like, honestly, that off chance where it is dead, it's like I can just end up maybe normal summoning it or using it as some kind of discard fodder for torn skills anyway. So it's not really that bad. Then I played the BA package, one graph, one seer. It just helps to get to your link plays easier since Sharabini is a link too, and then you just need to bring out one other dark monster. And so most of the time, you're gonna be going into your link 2 with your 2 PK monsters or something else, right? Your one extender, one of your PKs. Then you're going to go ahead and mill off the graph and bring out Seer. Then they're going to bring out your Rusty. And so it makes the, since it's a link 3, Rusty is going to take quite more material to get off. But since you have a really good monster to bring out the Rusty, the Rusty doesn't have that much drawbacks anymore. And then I know some people run Libic to unbrick these from time to time, but I've had enough instances to where I can usually unbrick it with Torn Skills by waiting to discard using its effect, or I can just special summon it as extenders for my combos and plays, and it'll still be fine. Then I played 3 Kagamucha Knight. This is pretty much the best extender in the deck because if you can pair this off with Tour Guide, you can go ahead and chain block, but it's also good for just any one of your PK monsters you end up drawing in general. Then I played Speedroid Engine. Some people play it, some people don't. I personally like it since it baits out hand traps. Like half the time people Ash Blossom this, half the time people don't. And if people don't end up hand trapping it, what I like to do is I go into number 75 to protect myself from Nibiru. Since this deck, that's the biggest weakest of this deck, either Nibiru or Lancia pretty much. It can play through DD Crow, Infinite Impermanence, and a lot of negations in general. But like when you stop like the core functionality of this deck is when you're in trouble. And so you want cards like this to back you up. Next, I played 3 Tour Guide. If you have this with Kagamucha Knight, it becomes a better starter than Torn Scales. Unfortunately, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, from which I've been playtesting with and getting into the deck with, it uses OCG scripts. So my opponent actually has a window of opportunity to respond when I use that simulator. But I mean, it's not that bad as well, since there's also the thing that where there can be surprised where maybe they would have wanted to stop the Kagamucha Knight as well, or something else really. But I also play Edgem Sabers, and I prefer it over Libic because Libic only works when I have like a Burning Abyss in hand. I mean, I know it can be an essential extender too if I special summon it to Zone Sharabini points too. But I just like it in general because it helps me unbreak my Speedroid Engine. If I hard draw attack a Tomberg, and I probably should have said this before, but even if you hard draw attack a Tomberg, it's not really a brick as long as you can get to your Levier or Appaloosa. And that's your main go-to monsters for this deck, so it's not honestly that bad since it just becomes an extender once you have a win monster. Then I main deck Raigeki and Dark Hole. For high tier competitive events like an LCS or a Remote Duo Extravaganza, I would recommend just cutting it out. The reason why I main deck it is because there's a lot of decks I see out on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, like Tri Brigade, Lyralux, and let me look at my notes. Yeah, it's good against Tri Brigade, Lyralux, Dinos, as long as they don't have another miscellaneous Saurus, Eldritch Zombies. Some at times, because like they like to bring out um, that like one zombie monster that can negate monster effects, and it might not be as good sometimes because Outlich, if you bring it out, that I know it's that one effect to where it becomes immune to destruction for a turn or two. From what I remember, after it gets its 1,000 attack boost, it's good against Zodiacs too because you can just use it to get rid of Zeus as well. But yeah, for like decks that are weak to destruction, from if you know where you're gonna play against or have an idea, especially since the ban list just came out, you might want to consider um, using these cards because also people are playing Torrential Tribute in this format, which is similar to these cards since they do destroy all monsters on the field. I just like this as a going second card or as a surprise factor in game one. And I usually cite it out in case if I'm going against decks that really can just recur so many monsters and they don't really get bothered by card destruction. I use Foolish Burial as a backup in case if any of my Phantom Knights get negated, banished, DD crowed, whatever. They get hand trapped basically. And that I just like it in general. I mean, it's good since I can get the Edge Imp Saber out. Just keep on getting more of my combo pieces out of my deck. Then I play Rhoda. It's self-explanatory. Most of the monsters are warriors. I like to play the rank up magic package. Some people like to play Dragoon. I'm not really a fan of it since from my play testing it bricks a lot. And then with this, even if you hard draw it, let's say, you can still play it as a quick play. Like if you get interrupted, like someone, I don't know, torrential tribute to your monster on summon, such as when you go into your break sword, it has something to target the break sword. You're in the middle of an XYZ play, then you can just go ahead and use this real quick, or or you can just use it to set up for the Requiem, since it'll negate a lot of monster effects in hand, which is what most of the meta plays right now. Then I played triple Tactics Talent. I like it. Everyone plays hand traps this format. Plus, I get to look at the opponent's hand. This is the effect I use the most. It helps me pick out other hand traps they use in hand. So let's say they Ash Blossom me, and I can get out like a Nibiru. It's really helpful in games 2 and 3 since that's what majority of people side against this deck. Then I play Forbidden Droplet. It's pretty much staple card in this format. Even with the ban list that just came out today, I know that it's still probably going to be main deck. You might see Dark Ruler no more played a little bit more since now we don't have to deal with Utopic Zexal or True King of All Calamities anymore. But I mean, it's really good for this deck since your deck plays a lot of effects in the graveyard. So the faster you can even get to them in the graveyard, the quicker you can get to your combos and OTK or set up your board for your opponent. Then I play triple Fog Blade, Wing, Sword, and Shade Briganding. So for my traps, the reason why I play 6 of them is because of the virtual world matchup. And since a lot of virtual world players, what they'll do is if you activate Forbidden Droplet, when they activate the True King of All Calamities, and if you don't discard a trap, you just go ahead and change Shushi, targeting the True King of All Calamities. And since Forbidden Droplet can no longer recognize the monster you've chosen to negate the effect, it won't resolve. So I want to see as many traps as possible in that matchup. And then I usually end up setting out if I realize that I'm going second, because Fogblade isn't that good going second. I usually end up sticking with like about 3 to 4. Some people don't like Shade Brigandine. I like it a lot since it's a quick way to get to your rank 4, especially with Stained Greaves. It's a little bit of a niche play, but I like it. I like to go into Link Spider and then link my way up with Link Spider, Cherubini, and then into the Appaloosa. Or I go into Cherubini, Link Spider, and then into Unicorn, and then Link climb my way up into an Access Code Talker. but it's also good for the also going into Rusty Bardiche, since you need two dark monsters, and let's say if my Cherubini effect gets negated, I can just, and I happen to have Shade Brigadier in hand, I can go ahead and link my way off into a Rusty Bardiche. I like Ash Blossom the most, since Red Eyes Fusion is played a lot, and so I can have the potential where if they decide to activate it, I can go ahead and turn off their summoning for that turn, where they really can't do anything unless if they're playing like Dragoon Outlich or a trap heavy deck. But it's also good for like just general searching. I know some people prefer Ghost Bell this format, but it's your preference, right? Because only you can maybe predict on what's going to be played at your extravaganza or your LCS or other form of a tournament or whatever. Then 3 Nibiru. I like this against the Virtual World matchup. It's good against Dragon Link. It's good against the Tri Brigade Lyralux, but depends though, because sometimes my opponent doesn't overextend and their fifth summon will be that Wind Barrier statue. But sometimes, like I said, they do try to overextend and end up special summoning too much, and I like to hit them at that point. Same thing with dinosaurs. In case if they don't draw Miscellaneousaurus, so if I negated it, I can just go ahead and drop Nibiru on them. But like I said, pretty much majority of decks special summon, so it's good in the main deck. I like it. Virtual World, same thing. They special summon a lot to get to the true king of all calamities. Then I play one wielder, one tracker, just another generic extenders. They don't activate in hand, they just special summon directly onto the field. So it just helps me get to my combos quicker. Alright, and so for the extra deck, I like to play Access Code Talker. It's just obviously a good generic Link monster in general. It's pretty easy to Link climb into with Link Spider, Cherubini, and Nightmare Unicorn. Same thing with Nightmare Unicorn. It's good in generic removal. Doesn't destroy, and offers good Link climbing to access Gold Talker. Then I play Cherubini. It can send cards to the deck that aren't even Burning Abyss. So let's say if I'm able to, that's a little bit of a niche play, but I end up banishing the Seer for rank up magic, right? And then I get it back with the Levier. I can end up special summoning back the the Cherubini, and then I can go ahead and dump a PK into my graveyard. Or let's say if I opened up Tour Guide and then I special summon the graph already, I'll just go ahead and start milling my PK monsters with the Cherubini effect. It's good since it's sent for cost, so your opponent can't Ash Blossom it. Appaloosa is good, solid turn one board, pretty easy to get into with your Link combos, and helps with extra monster negation with Dark Requiem. Rusty Bardiche, um, best card in the deck, honestly. Gets you +2, sends to the graveyard, then gets you a set strap card. It's so good. Helps you pop your own break sword so you can get into your Requiem Dragon, or you can end up popping one of your opponent's cards, and since you can use it on your opponent's turn, you can end up maybe using one of your trap cards instead of summoning out one of your XYZ monsters to disrupt your opponent plays. Then Link Spider, it's also good, besides for my Shade Brigadier, it's also good for the Nibiru token, and then it catches my opponent off guard. 2 Break Sword, pretty much every PK deck list I've seen plays your Break Sword. You're going to want at least 2, since in case if one doesn't go off, and then you usually end up going for both of your packages, like your Arc Rebellion or your Dark Requiem package, at least from my experience. Then I play Zeus, since this is an Xyz focused deck, and I usually like to end up summoning it after going off with my Levier, attacking, or maybe just make a Break Sword and then just attack. Helps get rid of traps. Then I play number 75. It's pretty good. It's my main card if I end up opening the Speedroid Engine, or it's just if I have enough extenders, like I can end up summoning 4 level 3s before I get up to my 5th summon, then I go ahead and bring that out to protect myself from Nibiru, or I can just use it to go into Zeus and attack. But I can rarely pull it off since it obviously has 1000 attack. I might switch this for Fortune Tune, depending on how the next format goes, but for now, I'm going to keep, I would say this would be better for the, if you want to go back and replay the December to March 2020 to 21 format. Then Raiders Night, it's what you basically bring out after your break sword gets destroyed. That helps you rank up into your Arc Rebellion. Levier helps you extend your plays, helps you get your PKs back, and you essentially play 3 cloaks. And it's just good fodder for your link material or for your Zeus in general. Arc Rebellion is the One Punch Man of this deck. And then it just gets so high. I mean, you can use it to break boards like there's no tomorrow, man. I mean, your opponent just like summons a ton of shit. Helps you beat over Dragoon. Helps you beat over Dinos. This motherfucker's attack gets so high sometimes. Requiem, good for turn 1 plays. It isn't only once per chain like Appaloosa. It negates monster effects from anywhere, man. And you can also bring back an XYZ monster from your graveyard as well. Then the Dark Rebellion, you need it to play your Dark Requiem, so it's what you use with rank up magic on, and then you can, once you go ahead and play the rank up magic, special summon it to a zone, Rusty Points 2, and destroy one of your opponent's cards to interrupt their plays. Alright, and for the side deck, I accidentally had 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance. It actually should be 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance and 1 Imperial Order. I guess I accidentally transferred it wrong from my yugioh Pro deck list. But yeah, I just want to spell. It's good for going first. And then I usually just end up citing it out if I know I'm going to go second. And then I like Imperial Order instead of playing 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance, because if the case they end up drawing into spell or trap removal, I can just go ahead and, it prevents it from even being played. So then I play Lancia. It's good against the Tri-Brigade Lyrolux deck and Virtual World 2. And then Evenly Match. It's good to drop in the Outlich matchup, forces them to use their traps. Good against the Tri-Brigade Lyrolux deck. It's overall just a good going second card. Then DD Crow, just good against Drytrons in general, or really most decks just search a lot nowadays, so it's good. Then I play for some spell and trap removal, Harpy's Feather Duster and Twin Twister. You can play Cosmic Cyclone over this, because really destroying the Outlich trap cards or any other trap card based deck in general, like Paleozoic Frogs, they can still get them back from the graveyard since it has graveyard-like effects. But if you switch out for Cosmic Cyclone, then there's really not any trap cards or spells that really activate in the current meta right now in the banish zone. So, but I like it because it helps me discard my PKs and I get at least 2 cards out of the way at the moment, and I can get off my PK effects at that time. But it depends on you and what you think you're gonna end up playing against. Then DD Corel just helps me get rid of the Outlich monsters for when they try to get rid of one of their set cards and then try to summon it, or no, I'm sorry, add it to their hand, or I can DD Crow the Ben 10. But yeah, alright, now I'm just going to go ahead and place through some test hands on Edo Pro, and that'll be it for the video, and then I'll go ahead and start playing competitively a lot, at least somewhat competitively because I'm still in school right now, but we'll see how my deck list changes after we start getting into the new format after March 15th. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the video.